We're getting ready to have a baby. Uh, yes, I know, right? You too. Not quite as soon, but ours feels really soon. We're due July 20th. Technically, my wife says she feels early. She's tracking for early growth wise. Um, one of the things that we love is books, right? Board books, crinkle books, one of my wife's ideas was, for some of you that have already gotten the invitation, we've asked if you come to the baby shower, and you're all invited. If you didn't get a personal invite yet, you will. You are invited. I should have just put the graphic up on the screen, but I wasn't that organized today. But everybody in the church community is invited. June 7th, 9 to 11 at our house, open house style. But anyway, one of the things that my wife said, I've been asking people, instead of bringing a card, bring a book for the baby's library, right? Well, if you think about, and I don't know what your go-to thing is. Chris was telling me about a book that she had from her childhood that I hadn't heard of, but she read it all the time, and it sounds great. Whatever that thing in your childhood is, many of those children's books will have a hero in the story, someone who sort of rescues the day or sets things right. And as you think about that, because we've been talking about living our story, right, with God, partnering with Him, those children's stories about a hero, the focus is about the hero, not the child who's reading it. I mean, that child benefits, they get excited, they love that, but what we're doing is we're giving a model. The story is about the greatness of the hero. But what does the hero do? The hero serves people. And I just wanted to share just real briefly this morning, as we've been thinking about living the story with God, God is the greatest hero of all, if we could put it in those terms. And we've spent other talks where we've talked about God's bigness, His greatness, that He, if you remember a few weeks ago, we talked about how it was intentional when He came and established His kingdom. It's like Caesar was like the supreme dude in the world, and Jesus says, no, I'm the King of kings. I'm the Lord of lords. I'm above all. And yet we know that Jesus was also a servant of all. So if that's our hero, that's our model, that's what we want to pattern our lives after. In Matthew 23, He says, the greatest among you must be a servant. We just spent all this time singing these worship songs about surrender, about laying our lives down. Now that runs directly against the American culture of climbing the ladder, taking care of my own, building my empire. No, Jesus actually says that to be the greatest, you actually have to go low. You have to be a servant to all. God was often referred to in His earthly ministry as the humble servant king. And that doesn't take away from His greatness. So real quick, because I'm going to keep this short, I'm going to reference a few things. I encourage you to go back, look up these stories. This is going to set a foundation for where we're going to go next week. But in Luke 12, we have the parable of the rich fool. This guy basically says, the economy is really good right now. I'm going to actually tear down my barns and build bigger ones so I can store more stuff. And if you know that parable, it basically comes to the point of, but what good do all of the material things that you could store up do if you lose your soul? Our lives as spiritual beings cannot be measured by what we accumulate on the earth, nor is it a sign of blessing, or the lack of it a sign of curse. I wasn't going to go here, but let's do this real quick. Whatever you're willing to let go of here in terms of earthly things, you can gain in terms of kingdomly things. That's not a correct word, but you follow what I'm saying. When the Bible tells us to lay up treasures in heaven, it doesn't mean that we have to give ourselves into the poorhouse. We give as God leads. We give as we have opportunity. But there is a spiritual reality to letting go of things here in order to gain things in the kingdom. And that's not just future oriented, okay? I can't go there right now because I don't have time to unpack all of that. This is what I want to say to you briefly this morning. We're going to start introducing this week, and then we're going to unpack this and also talk about the church gathered and scattered next week. But these are the tensions between the kingdom of God and the present age that we live in. The ways of the world and the kingdom of God. There is tension there. And I don't know about you, but I don't like to leave tension unresolved. I do, but I don't like that. How many of you understand in terms of musical notes? If I knew the keyboard was still on, I'd go play a minor chord and just let it hang there, right? Unresolved. It just doesn't feel right. We want to resolve it. We want the tension to be released. The reality is, as kingdom people, we're called to actually live into the tension. God's story in your life is going to lead you to places where you're going to actually live in the tension. You're going to experience the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. You're going to receive tremendous blessings and have incredible losses. And I'm sorry if that doesn't encourage you, but I can say this, it's worth it. It's worth it. I simply want to say this morning, we want our story to reflect God's presence and activity in our life.